the historical record shows that humanity wallows between liberty, freedom, and slavery. The only reason why we are bamboozled into thinking that we're not slaves.
This looks like a huge sandwich.
Okay, well, what are you guys having? If you stop working hard, this will happen. And I'm going to give you some ideas that maybe you hadn't considered later in the video. So the thing that is happening in this space is that you don't have to work hard. You can easily achieve these mega millions within a very short amount of time. It isn't going to cost you anything. There's not going to be any delayed gratification. There's not going to be all that much effort. It's just easy as pie, and you just keep on clicking on those clickbait titles, and that's what they're telling you. But seriously, a lot of people, it's not a laughing matter, a lot of people are working way too hard. We weren't designed as some people want to call us animals. I don't believe we're animals. Animals don't have a soul. I believe we have a soul, so we're not animals. But, as a creation, as a people here on Earth, it's not historical what happened during the industrial age. There's no history other than dictatorships. When you look at history, the historical record shows that humanity wallows between liberty, freedom, and slavery. The only reason why we are bamboozled into thinking that we're not slaves, when, people just don't normally think of somebody that's working hard as a slave. Well, how do you make that connection, right? Because it's not about just the working hard part. It's about making working hard a dogma. It's about saying, I'm going to have to slog it out 60 hours a week for 40 years, 30 years, 35 years, 40 years until I retire. That's what I'm talking about. And that is slavery. I mean, I could say it's a form of slavery, and I guess you could say that it is a form of slavery. But it isn't historical. Again, prior to the industrial age, you had the rich and the poor. You had the serfs, and you had dictatorships, and you had free people. So the question is, how do we get back to being a free people? And especially, it's very timely that, this since 2020, this free people thing has gone a step further, just to say it lightly. But that's not the subject of this video. Pre-2020, we were slaves. When I say we, I mean, I'm talking to the collective crowd that has convinced themselves that working at a job that they hate or don't like or would rather not be doing, or are just doing for the money, which is the same thing. Because if that's the only reason you're doing it, you're only doing it for the money. If it wasn't for the money, you wouldn't be doing it. And people tell themselves really nice things because they want the money. Oh, I really do like my job. No, they don't. No, they don't. If they could be doing something else, if they could whip out that notebook and make a list of what would I be doing if I had already reached my financial goals, if it's not the same thing as your job, then that's what I'm talking about. So if you stop working hard, this is what will happen. You will be liberated. You will be a free person. But wait a minute, I got bills to pay. I know. But all of a sudden, see, the whole thing with the serf is that he spends all his day doing that menial thing, that menial task, and has no time to do anything else. And so that's another thing that will happen. People don't appreciate what they don't have unless it's what they want. You might, if you put your focus, right, your mind's eye is austerity, deprivation, you know, it's I'm going to retire at this age mentality, then your focus, that's your focus. Ancient scriptures say that if you focus on something, then that you'll miss out on all this other stuff, which is your liberty. Once you have your time, which is your liberty, and it doesn't have to be cold turkey. It's not like, well, okay, Frank, I'm going to quit my job and twiddle my thumbs next week. That's not what I'm talking about. You know, it can be in stages where you little by little, but the focus is what has to change. It's like when you're sailing a ship, when you're sailing, and I'm a sailor, when you're sailing and you're off course, the first thing you do isn't change your sails. It's you pick a point. You pick a point, and then you put your mind's eye to that point, and you focus on that point. And you know why? Because as you change your sails, the wind isn't going to necessarily cooperate. It's going to blow you over here, it's going to blow you over there. But as long as you've got your mind's eye focused on that point, you will pull the boat back to that point, and that's how you get to your end destination or your goal. But it won't happen if you're too busy to notice that you lost your focus. And so I'm differentiating between doing a double take, because doing a double take, you know, if you've got to put up a wall, you work hard to put the wall up, but once you're done, you're done. This is not a lifelong, there's a difference here. That's the differentiation. You know, I'm making a distinction between doing a double take. A double take isn't a lifetime. If it's for a lifetime, it's not a double take. It's a lifelong double take. And so change your focus, change your mind's eye, and then start working on your sails. And little by little, you will enjoy what Henry David Thoreau said. You will, little by little, you start hearing the beat of a different drum, and you start achieving the things that you never thought you would that were possible. And our channel applies to all ages. You know, young families wanting to realign their priorities and have a better work balance life, and you know, older folks getting ready to retire, or people in the middle that maybe have some assets but are unsure, you know, whether they should. All of the above, our content is useful for all of the above. So thanks for coming to the channel. Hope you got something out of that. Have a wonderful day.